Grace's Letter to Lincoln, Chapter 2. Grace slipped into the McCumbers' house. Jefferson closed the door and latched it. Grace followed him down the dark hallway and into the kitchen. A single lamp glowed on the table. "Jefferson, what are you doing here?" Grace asked. "Where are Jenny and Mr. and Mrs. McCumber?" "They've gone to tell the conductor I am ready." "What conductor? The train does not arrive until 10 o'clock. Jefferson laughed. "Not that conductor, Miss Grace. The conductor on the Underground Railroad." Grace nodded her head. Papa had told her about the Underground Railroad. It wasn't a real railroad with tracks and trains. It was the route escaped slaves used to reach freedom in the North. Conductors helped the slaves until they could go on to another station. Each station brought them closer to freedom. Grace hesitated and asked, "Are you going to Canada?" "Yes, tomorrow, if they can arrange it." "Is my father helping?" "Yes, but don't ask me how." Grace licked her lips. She wanted to ask Jefferson what it was like to be a slave, but that would be rude. Instead, she asked, "Will you get another job making stoves like you did for Papa?" "I hope I can. Your Papa paid me well. Earning your own keep is heaven compared to being a slave." Grace's curiosity won. She asked, "Did you have a family when you were a slave?" Jefferson took a deep breath. "Everybody has a family, Grace, but I never knew my mama and papa. Master Thompson sold them down the river when I was a baby. My grandma raised me." "Down what river?" "Down the Mississippi." "Why?" "They escaped and got caught. The master didn't want to risk them escaping again, so he sold them to separate masters somewhere down the river in Louisiana." "But that's horrible!" Grace exclaimed. "I know. Lord, how I know," Jefferson said, shaking his head. Grace and Jefferson froze. The front door latch lifted. Footsteps echoed down the hall. Grace gripped Jefferson's hand. "Jefferson, it's us, the McCumbers." Mr. and Mrs. McCumber entered the kitchen. Jenny followed. "Grace, what are you doing here?" Mrs. McCumber asked. "I came to see Jenny. Jefferson let me in. I'll go now." Grace turned to Jefferson. "Good luck," she said. Jefferson smiled. "Luck has been with me in Westfield. I'll make it to Canada or die trying. They won't take me back alive to Tennessee." Jenny walked Grace to the door. Grace looked at her friend. "You're so fortunate," she said. "Why?" Jenny asked. "Because you get to help Jefferson. I wish I could do something to help him." "You can help by keeping his whereabouts a secret. Only my parents and your parents know. But after tomorrow he will be safe, won't he? If we can get him to the next conductor tonight." Grace was about to ask what Jenny meant by "if we can get him to the next conductor," when she heard the distant whistle of the evening train approaching Westfield. "It is almost 10. I have to go." Papa was gone when Grace returned home. She didn't even ask Mama where he was. At breakfast, Grace asked, "Mama, if you could vote, would you vote for Abraham Lincoln or Stephen Douglas?" Mama smiled at her. "Mr. Lincoln, of course." "But why?" "Because Papa supports Mr. Lincoln." "Why does Papa want Lincoln?" Frederick corrected her. "Mr. Lincoln." Grace made a face at him. Mama ladled oatmeal into Frederick's bowl. "Is it really any of your business who Papa votes for?" Alice asked. "She is just curious, as always," Helen said. "She means no harm." "Papa believes Mr. Lincoln is the best candidate because he does not want any more states to have slavery." "But that's just what Senator Douglas wants, too," Alice interrupted. "I agree with Papa," Mama continued. "Mr. Douglas is a good man, but he believes each new state should decide if it wants slavery or not." "Which means there will be more slaves," Grace said. "That's wrong." "Just yesterday you wanted a slave, Grace," Alice said. An image of Jefferson's face loomed up. Grace ignored Alice. She hugged Mama and Helen, patted Una on the head, and grabbed her school bag. "Wait for me," called Frederick. "Not today," Grace yelled. "I must meet Jenny." She was out of sight before the screen door slammed shut. Grace met Jenny at the gate to the schoolyard. A group of boys played chase. Another group rolled marbles in the dirt. The younger girls jumped rope. Grace and Jenny went to the back of the one-room schoolhouse. "Did your passenger catch his train?" Grace asked after looking around to make certain she was not overheard. "Yes, thanks to your Papa," Jenny said. "What did he do?" Grace asked. "My parents were being watched by Sheriff Holt. After you left, they hitched up their buggy and took me for a ride." "That late at night?" asked Grace. "The sheriff thought it was late too, when he stopped us. I wore some of Papa's old clothes stuffed with rags. I guess the sheriff thought I was Jefferson. He was surprised when he recognized me." "Did my father help Jefferson escape?" Jenny looked around this time and nodded. "While the sheriff was chasing us, your father took Jefferson to the next station. By now the passenger is well on his way to Buffalo and then across to Canada." "Ding-a-ling!" Ding-a-ling! Miss Lang rang the brass school bell. Grace and Jenny ran to line up.